Hello guys. So we've just done this. We've just cleaned up this area and I've created piles on my bed like beauty, clean clothes, lots of dirty clothes, recycling, trash, kitchen, needs to go to the living room. I've created bags of like paperwork and stuff that it's like a whole project. You want to get all your paperwork out and sort it and create a filing system all at once. So I've just sort of, bagged them up. And I've created my little piles, and technically I could probably walk through once I put them away. So I'm gonna put them away, but I had to end the video because it was 30 minutes and I had no idea it was 30 minutes long. But anyways, so I'm gonna put these away off camera. So you'll see that later. But anyways, I just kind of wanted to talk about something that like occurred to me at the end of the video, and I was like, oh, I can't talk about it now, it's been 30 minutes. It's just like, like, look at this, like, oh my god, like, why? It's so distressing and overwhelming. But I'm like talking so fast, but like, I need to like take a breath. So if you're feeling super overwhelmed, come with me, take a breath. I'm gonna do some self-soothing in the sense that, okay, I'm like looking at my room like, holy crap, how did I get all this junk? Like, this is all junk, and like, it's all everywhere, and I'm so messy, and I'm such a horrible person. And the fact is that it's not junk, okay? This is dirty clothes. I have lots of room in my closet since I did my clothes tour. Lots of empty hangers. These just need to be washed and put away. And like the kitchen stuff all has a place. I've used it over the last week. Need to breathe. The trash leaves. These bags have a cabinet where I keep all my reusable bags. Breathe. These things here on the floor, these bags here, well, this here, from there over, is paperwork and emotional stuff that I'm sort through later, but it's been bagged up and it's it's confined. This goes to the kitchen. This doesn't have a home, but it'll probably just go with the electronics. It's a old camera. This is crafting supplies. I know where those live. That actually lives there. It's actually really fun. I need to fill it more. Like, its little friends have left the building, but it's sort of like, it's got crayons and those cool coloring books and stuff that like, and I put my like nice books in there, and it's just, it says live the life you've imagined. It's kind of just a box for by my bed when I'm just like need a break. This is like a little card holder and a picture frame holder and a tissue box holder and stuff that like when my house is in order they'll be placed out. So they've been put in the corner because they're not being like hoarded or hidden. They're like, they're tchotchkes or they're decor. So I've created my beauty piles. Like, all of this stuff does have a box where it lives. I don't know. Anyways, like, and then because then I see this and I'm like, holy crap, what's that? I haven't done the foot of my bed. What's wrong with me? So I'm just like, what do I do with all this stuff? And you put it in the boxes. Like, we all know the boxes. You can see the boxes. Can you see them? Can you see them? They're up there. I have them. I just need to, once the stuff comes out of the boxes, I don't like always put, I don't like put them back. I don't know why. My living room is not doing that great. It has not accumulated any new piles in the sense of like, oh, I don't want to put this away, I'm just gonna throw it down. Like, well, actually, no, it's true. Like, there's no huge new beauty pile. I mean, I do have some like cat and some food stuff out. It's not in the best shape, but that can always be fixed. So anyways, I'm gonna come sit down and chitty chat with you. Should we chitty chat? Yeah, so let me get you stable so you're not getting, seasick on me. Don't mean to make you seasick. I don't know. I just... It can almost make you want to quit. Like, you put in effort and time, and it is better, but you don't quite know how you'll ever conquer it. And those feelings just make you want to quit. Like, if you're never going to conquer it, why are you putting in all this hair-raising effort and distress and emotional hardship and paring down and cleaning, and why are you doing it if it's just not going to ever be accomplished? Like, you're already living in a pigsty, so if you're just going to be living in a half pigsty, then why are you putting in all this effort? And honestly, and that's where you get these big gaps in my vlog. Like, luckily because I was scared to vlog, to put these up for like 2 weeks, I have a lot of backlog, but I am catching up on myself. That's why I'll go a couple days without doing any big projects, is that I just get so discouraged. I get like, I've made progress, but like, am I ever gonna conquer it? And like, it doesn't stem from like the junk stuff, which isn't like junk, like it just feels like junk because there's a lot of it and I don't know what to keep, and some of it, like it all comes across as junk because some of it's paperwork that needs to be thrown out and some of it's stuff that I won't keep. So some of it's valuable and some of it's not valuable, so it's just a pile of mixed up stuff. It makes you self-reflect and think like, what's wrong with me? Why do I collect this stuff? Like, why do I have all this junk, but it's not junk? And then you see it as junk because, okay, I think this is important. Like, I hope I say it right. You see these piles of things, and because they're just jumbled up piles, they come across as junk. They're just stuff, they're a mess, they're junk. But they're not junk. The things in the piles, you have them because they mean something to you, and maybe they're mixed up with paperwork, and maybe they're mixed up with stuff that's not important, but you have them because there's an emotional bond to them. If you didn't have an emotional bond, you wouldn't have these struggles. Like, if you're just a messy person, which there are just messy people, then you just, hopefully you watch these videos and you buckle down and you conquer your house and you just clean little pieces at a time. And you keep going and you clean little pieces, and then, you've conquered your messiness. But if it's emotional attachment, then there's something more deeper going on. That's when it gets tougher, because, at least for me, and I think for other people, you see these piles that are junk, but you love these piles, the things in them, and you can't get rid of them. And some things are painful to have, but you still hold on to them. And so then you start to think, and so the next step that your brain takes is like, oh, I see here we have junk. Oh, I see here we care about it. We care about junk. Like, that's the logical conclusion. So then you start to think, oh my gosh, why do I care about junk? Why do I am so emotionally attached to nothing? What's wrong with me? And I think you have to take a step back and reverse it. That you don't love junk. You've just defined it as junk. Like, you love specific objects, or you have an emotional attachment to specific objects, and right now they're all piled up and mixed up with paperwork. They're not junk. If you care about something, it's not junk. End of story. And that's not to say that you shouldn't get rid of it. I know that. I mean, that's where hoarding comes in, is that if you care about it, it's not junk, but sometimes it's stuff you don't need to keep, or, it's not, doesn't benefit you to keep. People who hoard like magazines or who hoard newspapers, they have every newspaper from the last 30 years. There's a reason behind it, why they do it. And yes, they're hoarding print paper, but there's a reason why they're attached to that. There's something emotional going on, whether it's they're scared to forget something, whether it's they have a highly pictorial memory, so just knowing the headline brings up the day, whether it's like, I luckily don't hoard newspapers, but I think I could probably develop the habit, now that I think about it, because like when I was a kid, my mom always used to, like, hi baby, always used to like, excuse me for a second. Okay. My mom always used to get us clippings of newspapers and like put them on our desk or in our room for us to read, and I liked those and I kept those, and some of them I threw away and some of them I kept, and they just have a lot of emotional bond to them. They're my mother. So I think I could see myself like developing a habit for like hoarding the Wall Street Journal or hoarding the New Yorker or hoarding little cartoons. Maybe one day when she passes away, like obviously I don't really think about this a lot, but now that I'm thinking about it, like you can develop them, and I think that's something that in understanding hoarding and understanding people is to understand that we're not just crazy psycho freaks. Like it comes from somewhere. It comes from an emotional urge deep down, whether it's a good or bad emotional urge. It comes from somewhere. So hoarding is like that. He's just the cutest thing you've ever seen. Sorry, I won't film you. Yeah, so anyways, so your stuff, if you're feeling that way, your stuff is not junk. You don't love junk, okay? Junk is stuff that's unimportant, that has no meaning, and that is purposeless. If you care about something, it has meaning. It gives you something, so it has a purpose, okay? And it's cared about. So it's not junk. It might not be something you should be holding on to. Maybe it's something you need to work on. Maybe it's not safe for you to keep, like hoarding trash. But it can get really discouraging to be like, oh my god, I have so much far to go, I just have all this junk, it's all stupid and pointless and meaningless. But when you sit down and you look at it and you break it down piece by piece, it's not pointless and meaningless. And that's why I create my little bags, because I'm like, oh my god, I'm just going to get stuck in memories and emotions. Like, you're going away. Like, if you don't have a designated place in my house, you're going in a bag, and I'm going to sort through you later. So like, as you have seen from the videos, I have my kitchen supplies, I have sewing and craft art supplies, I have beauty medication supplies, shoes, games, and books and electronics. So, and then office supply stuff, kitchen supply stuff like more decor items like tablecloths. And then in my parents' garage, because my parents are wonderful, I have up in their attic, I have decor for holidays. Holiday decor. But besides that, if it doesn't fall into those categories, that's where you start to have the paperwork, the tchotchkes, little bits and tabs of stuff that doesn't belong anywhere, doesn't have a home. And that's when you need to think about what you're keeping and what's important. And honestly, that's the hardest part. So for me, at least for me, it's the hardest part. So for me, I've decided that a spick and span house clean from top to toe with 8 bags of paperwork and tchotchkes, that's my goal. Because then in my clean, happy, cathartic, enjoyable environment that I'm proud of, I can then conquer the hardest parts of my life. So, anyways, thanks for joining us on this chat. Can you tell that he has his head leaned up on me? And he's kneading me down there. Alrighty. Say goodbye. Alrighty. Bye. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this video was helpful to you. I hope it was. And get a cat. They make life better. Alrighty.